it is.
It's my old duffel coat. Actually, it was mine first.
Well, long before that, it was mine.
Oh, was it, Mr. Brown?
Really?
He wore it on his first day at school.
It's lovely. Wooden buttons for ease of pull. And these two sandwich compartments are an excellent idea.
I must say, it suits you very well.
I never thought I'd like a human coat, but...
You look like one of the family.
I was on primary school and it was there where we had to do a talk in front of the class, and there was this book that I borrowed from the library, and in there they showed images of T-Rex from Jurassic Park and the mask with Jim Carrey, how they put the CG mask on top with the eyes and the tongue flipping out of his head, and I was so amazed by that this was a thing you can create yourself, and this thing called CG, and I saw these wireframes, and I was just really interested to learn more about this, and so that's where my interest started in animation. And yeah, slowly when I was around 12 I started to explore like 3D software and started to model and animate a little bit. So I was fortunate enough that my dad would buy me these CDs. On these CDs were like apps and games, but I was always on the look for those 3D software that I saw in that book. And I started off with SketchUp that I found, and Autodesk Inventor, but this software was more for architecture. It was not really made for characters, but still I was just trying whatever I could, and it was fun. I remember one night I was so excited because I couldn't sleep. Because I was finally able to color my Lego 3D Lego bricks from red to yellow to blue. It was so good. And then when I went to college, I started to play with Cinema 4D, and that's where I really started to work more and with characters, and I made this King Kong remake. It's horrible, but it was great to do it in the time. And from there I worked at 3D Max, and then eventually Maya, which I'm still working in right now. My favorite project I worked on is still Paddington. I just had such a great time working on this project. It was just so smooth, there was no changes. I was just, whatever I did was often approved quite fast, and it was just so much fun to look at this cute character all day long, like just his eyes. It was just so much fun, and also to collaborate with the other departments, because like one of my shots or one of my scenes that I animated was where Paddington gets his duffel coat for the first time, this iconic coat, and it was just really fun to get my animation to work with the live action play, and then work together with the other, like the FX team, because the code has to be simulated as well to get it all look as realistic as possible. And just every time that I would submit an animation and see it back rendered with all the fur and everything, it was just such an amazing time. It was really fun, really exciting. And also the movie itself, I think it turned out really well. Like I'm really proud of that one. Just a cute movie. It's always hard. I think it's very hard for me to tell exactly what inspires me, like to pin down one inspiration, but you can look at my work and you can tell in what times I was inspired by what. Like if I look at when I was at college, I was really inspired by Tim Burton's style. You can see that in my short film First Date. And then if you move on a little bit later, I was really interested to work at Pixar, Disney, and you can see Rooted, it's quite Disney-ish. And then I started working at Framestore in London, which is a visual effects company, and that's when I started to be more interested in realistic effects, and that's when I made Little Freak, which is a bit less of those cartoony styles and more to realism. But I find it really hard to say what to pin down, like this is my inspiration. Like right now when I'm stuck or I'm like what would other directors do, then I would just look at like Christopher Nolan or Steven Spielberg. I really love their work, so I would look at their work, what they are doing, but I don't know, it's just whatever movie I've been watching, or it changes every year, my inspiration. That's a tough question because every workplace has its own great things. If I go way back in time when I worked as an intern at Ivorum in Tilburg with Leslie van Berkel, this was a great time for me because for me this was the time and I got paid and I could learn whatever I wanted to. He gave me all the time to figure out how to create a short film, my first short film. So I was super thankful for this, and then for that time this was the best place to work. Then I also worked, for example, at Framestore. This is where I had my first experience as an intern at first and a job, but to learn from the bigger studios how it all works, and because this was my first experience there, this feels like home to me, and there were such great colleagues and leads, and so you could say that would be the best place. Then I moved to ILM in Vancouver for a few months, and this, ILM is like, some people consider this as the best visual effects company. They did Star Wars, Jurassic Park, all these big movies that inspired me when I was young to get into film. So you could call that the best workspace. But right now I'm at EightVFX in LA, which is another great company. It's a bit smaller, but it's growing right now. I'm currently head of Animation Supervisor, so my position is really great. I'm really enjoying it here, and so you could consider this as the best workplace. So I guess it's relative. It's whatever you make of it. I just really enjoy every company in a different way. Right now I'm working as an animation supervisor at EightVFX, and currently I'm working on a Honda commercial and supervising a commercial for Acer Predator. And we just finished a music video for Melanie Martinez, and we also finished a movie, Tonya, where we did face replacement, which will be coming out in the end of the year. And in my spare time I'm working on my first live action short film called Arts, and hopefully it will be in the festivals next year. I would make it two things. One is just do it. If there's one thing that I keep thinking of when people ask me tips, is just do it. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I know that all the things you learn, every time you learn something new, it also blocks you and you're scared to make those mistakes, but just do it and then start improving it. So like with animating, if you want to do some little performance, just start doing it, and then from then you can start at, this looks a bit weird, and then start improving it. Because as long as you don't start, you have nothing to improve either. It's the same thing even with my writing right now. Like I try to write, and it sometimes blocks me. Like I know all these rules with writing, and you're like, I don't want to make those mistakes, and then you just block yourself, and then you just need to break it. You need to break it and just start making something, and then improve it. And the other thing I want to say is just show your work to people. If there's one thing that really kept me going and gave me the drive, was it to just show your work to people and get other people excited, to make yourself excited to keep going. I remember showing the family, friends, neighbors when I was like 14, making my first videos, and to make people laugh or get emotional, that's just, it gives you so much strength to keep going. And so if you always keep your work for yourself, it's hard to get that enthusiasm, I think, to keep going. So show it to the world and don't be afraid. That's it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.